You join me on one of my bike packing trips. I'm currently in an absolutely amazing place. Look at this view. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is because this film is coming out in a week or two and I want to keep it under wraps, but let me know where you think it might be in the comments. In this video, I want to talk about my cycling story. And by that I mean, how did I get into cycling and how have I sort of found myself turning into a bike packer slash YouTuber these days. I thought it'd be interesting to share because I've never shared it with anyone before. A quick recap about me if you didn't know. I'm just a normal guy. I work full time. I work from 9 till 6 every day during the week and I have 2 small children. I'm not sponsored full time. This isn't my job. I just love going on my bike and making these bike packing films. I think a lot of people that we see online that have got a large social media following, way more than me, just aren't really relatable. They're usually professional or semi-professional athletes. They're sponsored full time, so all day they can go out and ride their bike and they get their bikes for free, they get their kit for free. They always look good because they're always fit and healthy and great shape. And I just don't think that's representative of most people who are actually watching the content. A subscriber recently pointed out to me when I was complaining probably, saying that I don't really have the time that I want to be able to go on these trips as much as I used to. Now I've got 2 small children. And she very rightly said, well, most people are in the same boat. They work all the time. They probably have family commitments or children as well. And it just makes going on big epic adventures really challenging. So actually, those sort of weekends and those smaller trips are more relatable and more accessible to most people. So that did kind of cheer me up a little bit. Anyway, I digress. So, my story. I first started cycling properly when I was a teenager. Now obviously, I've ridden bikes all my life. I was riding my bikes around the park when I was a kid, as you can see in this lovely photo. But I first started cycling properly and getting really into cycling about the age I was a teenager. I didn't grow up in a cycling household. You'll have seen though, if you've been an avid viewer of this channel for a while, that my dad does come on bikepacking trips with me. So he does like riding his bike, but he got into cycling properly around the same time that I did. So I was never brought up going to cycling events or doing training rides or going to races. That just wasn't me and my family. The 2 main reasons that I fell in love with cycling, or started to fall in love anyway at this point, was number 1, I could use the bike as a tool to lose weight. Every summer I was always desperate to get in the best shape I possibly could so that when I returned to school I'd look attractive and the girls would fancy me. I don't know if that 100% worked, but it was definitely something that I utilised to try and get in shape. I lived very close to an amazing woodland right on the edge of the Peak District and a great part of Sheffield for riding bikes, so it was really challenging and I just would go out for a few miles maximum and just put it in a big gear and just smash it so that I came back, my heart was racing and I knew I was getting fitter. The second reason that I really fell in love with cycling at this age is that it gave me freedom. There weren't many excuses I could use to get a few hours to myself when I was a teenager. My mum would often let me go out if I was walking the dog or going for a run or going for a bike ride. So I used that excuse every day if I could to have a few hours to myself. And I started to really enjoy that element, going out exploring, finding new places, going down streets that looked appealing, and just spending a few hours sometimes in the local woodland. I might even take a packed lunch with me and just enjoy myself and take it easy. And that's when I really started to love the exploration side of cycling. So cut to a couple of years later and I'm going off to university. I hadn't learned to drive at this point. I didn't have a driving license. I didn't see the point. I just couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford the insurance at that age. So I needed a way of getting around. From this point, I started getting interested in road bikes. The idea for me was simple. I wanted to be able to get into town, get to the gym, get to the swimming pool, get to uni and back without having to pay for trains, without having to drive, and the road bike seemed like the most efficient option. It was also around this time that the Olympics came to the UK and I saw Bradley Wiggins smashing it out on London streets. He'd just won the Tour de France and there was a lot of hype in the UK about road cycling in particular. So that also drew me to road cycling. And I can really say that my love of road cycling was firmly cemented in 2014 because the Tour de France came to Yorkshire and it actually visited Sheffield, where I'm from, and Leeds, where I was living as a university student. And I got to see Chris Froome and Alberto Contador and all these amazing riders actually riding on roads that I rode on. And that for me was like the wow point. This is amazing. I absolutely love road cycling. and I'm going to keep doing it now for the rest of my life. The only bike that I'd ever owned before I bought my road bike was a Halford Special mountain bike, 26-inch wheels, triple chain set at the front, 6 or 7 gears at the back, and some pretty naff spring suspension. And in hindsight, it was pretty rubbish, but for me it was amazing, and I didn't know any better. But when I was looking into getting a road bike, this is where I started actually learning about bikes and what I wanted, what size I needed, what group set I needed, all this stuff that I just didn't know anything about. I only had £400 to my name at this point before going off to university, and I wanted to spend it on a bike. And I managed to find on eBay a second-hand Ribble Audax winter bike for £425. So I managed to knock the price down a little bit. Came with an Ultegra group set, a bit of 105 in there as well, shifters 105. I still have this bike to this day. I've since spray painted it black and put mud guards on it, and it's done absolutely loads of miles. But this was my first road bike, and it was amazing to me. It did everything that I wanted it to. It had a pannier rack attachment as well. I'd mentioned it had mudguard mounts, something I'd not ever thought of in the past, meaning it was an ideal commuter getting to and from university bike. I'm really competitive, and inevitably, when I was out on this road bike, going to uni, going to work, going to Leeds, it was all about going as fast as possible. If I saw anyone else on a bike, I was always trying to overtake them. I was always trying to beat the cars as well, especially in rush hour. My plan was to go in the bus lane, go as fast as possible and overtake as many people as I could. And from this point onwards, this is kind of how my interest in racing started. And it's because of this competitiveness I wanted to start racing. I felt like I was really fast. Nobody seemed to be able to overtake me when I was riding to uni or to work. I was going as fast as I possibly could and seemingly overtaking everybody. So I thought, I'm really good at this, I'm super fast. I reckon I could win some races and start training and become maybe even a professional cyclist. I'm that fast. And boy was I wrong. I joined a local cycling club, Alba Rosa Cycling Club in Leeds, and they did a couple of group rides a week. Tuesday nights was one of their main ones. It was a chain gang from Leeds out to Otley, Ilkley and then back, and it was really fast. So my first trip there, I decided to join the medium speed group. We were split into 3 groups, fast, medium, slow. I didn't want to join the fast group because I didn't want to seem too cocky, but I thought I'm probably in the fast group. So I joined the medium group just so that I could ease my way into it. And within about 5-10 minutes, I was spat out the back of the chain gang and I just couldn't keep up. I honestly thought I was so much fitter than I was. And when I looked around the group on the first ride, there was all these blokes in their 50s. I thought, God, these guys must be slow, they're old. And little do I know that as you get older, it doesn't necessarily mean you slow down. A lot of your speed from cycling comes from the muscle memory, from the amount of miles that you've got in your legs. And I know a lot of 40, 50-year-old riders that are incredibly fast, so that was my first mistake. But I started coming back week after week, started putting in bigger mileage, 100, 150 miles a week, which is something I'd never done. I started actually structuring my training because I wanted to beat these guys and hang on a little bit further every week. And that's what happened. As the years went by, I started progressing into the faster group. I could hang on to pretty much the end of Ilkley, and then I'd usually get dropped coming up the climbs. And then I started losing a bit of weight, getting as skinny as I possibly could. My lowest weight was 72 kilos, and I'm over 6 foot, so I was pretty skinny then. And I had a good amount of power in my legs. So I started getting pretty decent. And at this point, I thought I'm going to start entering some races. My first race was around a York crit circuit, basically part of the university. And I'd never done a race before. I'd only ever done the chain gang, which is pretty controlled. It's a bit like a time trial. There's not much technicality to it. So I went to this race, smashed it off the front as fast as I could. I got overtaken several times by many people, got spat out the back. And in my haste to try and catch up, I went round one of the sharp bends as fast as I possibly could, lost the wheel, smashed my elbow on the ground, and basically took a big hole out of it, which is still there, actually. It's on this side. It's not very sightly. That put me off racing for a bit, but I started building my confidence again and started coming back to these sort of crit races. And I remember the next time I entered, I didn't crash. I didn't do very well. I was probably in the top 25, but not brilliant at all. But because I didn't crash, I thought, right, I'm going to come back and do this again. And I probably had a run of about 6 or 7 races where I started improving. I'd go from 25th to 18th to 15th to the top 10. And there was a point where I was consistently hitting the top 6 or 7. And there was one point that I actually won a race. I went to a fairly smaller event again at the York cycling circuit, and there was probably only about 15 people there, so it wasn't a huge bunch. But I broke away with a handful of strong riders and actually out-sprinted them at the end. So I was starting to feel really good about myself, like the training was paying off. I continued this. I got upgraded to Cat 3 racer, which was something I was aiming for, and I entered a couple more races, and I had a pretty serious crash again. I don't know which circuit it was on now, but it was one of the crits again, high-speed crash, and it knocked me basically off the bike for several weeks, and I just lost my confidence. I hated having to get new parts for my bike, hated having to take time off work or go visit the hospital A&E. The amount of times I had to go to Harrogate Hospital when I lived near there was just ridiculous. And I just didn't enjoy it. As much as I liked winning, the thought of hitting another rider that was sometimes completely out of your control, people just not looking where they're going, or just bad luck, I just didn't like it. It started to scare me a little bit, and that just really put me off racing. But I carried on training. I still wanted to be as fit and fast as possible. But this is when I started enjoying cycle touring or bikepacking. Me and my dad went to France on the very bike that I just talked about. He had another road bike. We just took rucksacks with us and we went from B&B to B&B. This was 2013. And it was an amazing experience. We had scorching hot weather, beautiful scenery. I'd never been cycling in another country before, ever, at this point. And it just felt like a brilliant way of enjoying my bike. It wasn't too competitive. Obviously, I was always trying to be a bit quicker than my dad. But the main goal was to just enjoy it. And that's what I realised I'd missed since being a child. That was the reason I loved cycling, was going out exploring, listening to nature, just having time to think. And you just don't get that when you're training for racing. All you're trying to do is get better, increase your numbers, lose weight, and it's very analytical. The main thing I love about cycling now is not being analytical. It's just being slow, enjoying myself, and remembering why I got into cycling in the first place. So today I go bikepacking all over the world and make these cinematic bikepacking adventure films. As much as I like the solitude, it's also nice to be able to share what I see and hear when I'm out riding, and I wanted to document this so people at home can experience the same joy I feel when I'm exploring the world. I couldn't find bikepacking content that I wanted to watch on YouTube. It was always people shouting with poor camera work, so I decided to make it myself. Now the channel has grown and I get paid to do these adventures, as well as getting some cool stuff and paid sponsorship at times. I'm hoping this will eventually turn into a full-time career. So that's my cycling story, and the reason I wanted to tell you is just to show you I'm just a normal guy. I wasn't immersed in cycling as a child. I just got into it as I got older. And I think it's quite poetic to say that I've gone full circle now. I came into cycling for the escapism, the freedom, the fitness, being able to listen to the sounds of nature and just having a bit of headspace, to becoming quite competitive, to joining groups, to racing, and to then kind of looping back and doing some adventures like I do now. I go bikepacking pretty much exclusively for my cycling now, to get that escapism, to see the world, and just to enjoy myself. And now it's changing again. As you may know, I have two children. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old, and both of them I'm hoping are going to start coming on some adventures with me. I'm pleased to say my 2-year-old is absolutely loving the balance bike, and he's become a whiz on it. He's absolutely amazing, which is pretty cool. And I've obviously got the trailer as well to take the little one out as well. So fingers crossed we're all going to be able to go as a family on some adventures soon, and I can pass that love of cycling on. Let me know in the comments how you got into cycling, and thank you so much for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one.